Sport has become less brutally violent over the course of history on the whole, with the gladiatorial combat of ancient Rome giving way to gentler pursuits like darts or rhythmic gymnastics. But if the futures foreseen by these sci-fi games are to be believed, gruesome spectacle is set for a roaring comeback in the world of professional sport. The bloodthirsty populations of these future dystopias can't get enough of these deadly spectator sports, which make the Hunger Games look like, well, rhythmic gymnastics.
Checkpoint!
You can't fault the developers of Carmageddon for trying. There is actually a proper formalised race going on in each of the game's levels, with checkpoints and laps and everything. The problem is, when presented with Carmageddon, 99% of otherwise well-adjusted players will instead opt to murder pedestrians, smash the other competitors into twisted heaps of flaming wreckage, and mow down the race officials. Say a prayer. You have to wonder why the guy with the flag keeps turning up for work. The competitors themselves are a colourful bunch, including a rogue robot, a disgruntled FBI agent, and a pair of funeral directors who drive a hearse called the Stiff Shifter. This whole death race thing must be great for drumming up business.
They say football is a sport for gentlemen played by hooligans and rugby is a sport for hooligans played by gentlemen. But they fail to mention Cyberball, which is a sport for sadists played by exploding robots. It's like American football, except the ball is a bomb, the players are robots, and the bomb will explode if the robots don't, as the pundits say, do good football. And sometimes the robots will explode when they are tackled. And sometimes a whole bunch of robots will be incinerated by a small flying saucer. Because future. It would seem like a humane alternative to actual blood sport, but we're positive that by the year 2072 we'll be able to program robots to feel pain and understand mortality, and that the electronic bomb they have to hustle around the pitch is actually their mutual uncle.
Being British, our understanding of American football is that it's 3 hours of advertising for fast food, occasionally interrupted by some sport. What we do understand though is violent chaos, which is what Mutant League Football turned the sport into with the help of the Madden 93 game engine. Mutant League Football is played in an irradiated future wasteland, and the teams are made up of mutants, aliens, trolls and skeletons. The pitch is littered with landmines and the referees are fantastically corrupt. You can bribe the ref and he'll dish out fake penalties, like a 5-yard penalty for crying. It's like my PE lessons all over again. If anything, Mutant League Football is even more complicated than regular American football with all the added fatal hazards. But if the worst comes to the worst, you can simply murder enough of the opposing team so that they have to forfeit. The game was followed by Mutant League Hockey, but that was less memorable because it was no more violent than actual ice hockey.
1994's brutal sports football is essentially Britain's answer to Mutant League football. It's kind of rugby, but if rugby encouraged decapitation. For reasons not adequately explored, brutal sports football is played exclusively by steroid-abusing elderly bearded men. Maybe those aging joints explain why after a few minutes of play, people's heads sort of start falling off. No, wait, it doesn't, does it? Games can be won either by scoring the most points or by murdering 6 of the opposing team's 7-man squad. In the event of a draw, the game goes into very literal sudden death. No wonder non-league matches are called unfriendlies. The good news is there's not long to wait until brutal sports football replaces rugby as the world's favourite barely formalised punch-up. According to the title screen, the first brutal sports football stadium will be built by 2019. Start saving now for that season ticket.
Speedball, from the 1988 game Speedball and its 1990 sequel, Speedball 2, is the quintessential bloodthirsty sci-fi sport. It's basically a hybrid of handball and ice hockey, but with metal armour, actual point rewards for injuring the opposing players, and team names like Turbo Hammers, Brutal Deluxe, and our personal favourite, the Explosive Lords. More intimidating than Tranmere Rovers, isn't it? The first Speedball League, founded in 2095, apparently breaks down amid violence and corruption. Who could have predicted that in a sport about thumping people? A second league is launched in Speedball 2 with pinball-style multipliers and a new rule that causing injuries to players gets you just as many points as scoring a goal. It is good to know that frozen dairy treats are still available in the future. I was starting to worry.
3, 2, 1, go!
Arcade game Motorade imagines what motorcycle racing will be like in the far-flung future. The answer being a bit like Wipeout. The Motorade Tour takes in some of the most spectacular locations in the galaxy. There's Reef 8 with its crystal clear waters, Eunice with its majestic snowy peaks, and Bowel, which is named after the part of your body that stores poop. Tourism board must really struggle with that one. This being futuristic motorcycle racing, weapons are added to the mix. These include giant hammers, rocket launchers, and these Wolverine-inspired laser claws. We can only assume that Earth was destroyed at some point and the only cultural artifact with which to rebuild human society was a battered copy of Road Rash for the Mega Drive.
If the prophetic FPS known as Unreal Tournament holds true, then by the year 2291, Earth will be mired in a costly war with aliens and violent social unrest. Earth's government figures the solution is to legalise consensual murder, and hey, they turn out to be right, because this lets all the angry folks blow off steam by blowing off each other's heads. There's nothing like state-approved ultra-violence for papering over society's ills. Am I right? I'm right. By the year 2341, this will facilitate a wildly popular new sport known as the tournament, in which professional fighters in sci-fi looking arenas will blast each other into small, meaty chunks with rocket launchers. The spectacle of the grand tournament will be more televised than a royal wedding and almost as sickening. But the good news is the ludicrous popularity of this future sport will make it a future industry worth hundreds of billions of future bucks. I'm no future economist, but I assume this will solve all of Earth's money woes. And all it will cost is our humanity, which we weren't using anyway. Result.
Those were the bloodthirsty sci-fi sports that make the Hunger Games look like the Funger Games. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm off down the park for a kickabout with my mates. Yeah, I don't know, the injuries are dreadful. We go through players like nobody's business, but... You hit the ball with the sword? You hit the person with the sword and take the ball from the person. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video about ridiculous sports from the future. If you'd like to watch other videos which are about bizarre themes within video games that we've somehow plucked from the millions and millions of video games that we've played, then why not watch these videos down here? We've got the lists down on this side, and then we've got Show of the Week, which is our weekly show, which also contains the occasional list, plus other stuff, plus comments from you guys, which are always delightful, and it's really good fun. You should totally check it out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And I ran out of steam there a bit, sorry.
Saving it for the pitch.
Yeah, I'm saving my energy for the pitch.
Bringing it all to the game.
Yeah.
Sword ball.
I'll leave it all on the field, guys.